Welcome, students. Today is Tuesday, February 2nd, and today we will be discussing lesson number 6, which is going to have us focusing on number lines. So today we'll be focusing on number lines. In our next slide, this is the multiplication table that's here just as a resource for you to refer back to if you need. And the next couple of slides, these are places for you to put pictures of your work. So your teacher has to be able to see your work. If you're doing work in the binder, you're going to need to take pictures of your work. If you're doing work in your notebook, you're going to need to take pictures of your work so that your teacher will know your progress. Our learning targets for today: I will expand my thinking of fractions by exploring how to model equivalent fractions using various strategies. Also, I will create visual models and written explanations to explain my thinking. Our essential questions for this unit remain the same. Why might it be important to understand equivalence, and why is unit size important in mathematics? We are continuing to build upon our answers to those questions as we go along. Vocabulary. Many of these we've already copied in our notebooks from last week. Today we're going to add a new one. So if you haven't already copied the words and definitions into your notebook, make sure to go ahead and do that now. Pause the video as often as you would like. So the definition and word that we're adding today is going to be number line. So we add number line, and that is considered a visual drawing of a straight line with values marked at intervals. So these are all in the small picture. These are all examples of number lines, and they are marked at different intervals, including the beginning and the end of each number line. So pause the video, make sure to copy our new word and definition number line. And if you didn't complete the rest of these last week and add them to your notebook, make sure to go ahead and do it now. These are important words that you're going to have to learn. So on our next slide, representing sports. Much like we did last week where we folded paper into different fractions, today we're going to use the visual model here to represent. Okay, so here we're going to say that this is a long strip of paper. This is one long strip of paper here that's been cut, and I went ahead and I've labeled the left side of the paper to be 0 and the right side to be 1. So I've labeled the left side to be 0 and the right side to be 1. This is kind of representing a number line so far. Okay, and I've drawn a line right here in the middle. So after I've drawn the line in the middle, how many equal parts do I have in here now? And also, so we started with one whole strip. So after we folded the strip, where should we write the 1/2 in here? So 2 questions. How many equal parts do we have now? And where should I write 1/2 on this? So pause the video, and you can actually in your notebook go ahead and draw a little strip like this and label your little strip that looks like this as 0 on the left side and 1 on this side, and draw a little line right in the middle. So it's basically a long rectangle is what you're drawing in your notebook. So you've had a chance to look at this and try to answer the questions. So how many equal parts do we have now? So when we look at the picture, you got, this is 1 part and this is 2 parts. So we've got 2 equal parts. So we started with 1 whole strip. So this entire thing right here was 1 whole to begin with. So after we folded it and we drew a little line right there, where should we write 1/2? So where should we write the fraction 1/2? That fraction should be written right here in the middle, because that's where that blue line is. It's right in the middle. Okay, on our next slide, representing sports. We played basketball for the first half hour in the gym, then we played volleyball for the last half hour. How can we represent this using the sentence strip? So I'll repeat it. We played basketball for the first half hour in the gym. Then we played volleyball for the last half hour. How can we represent this using the sentence strip? So we'll go back to the sentence strip that I just had up. So basketball for the first half hour. So that means that from 0 to 1/2 is going to represent basketball. Now from the second half hour is volleyball. So this is how you can represent it using the same sentence strip. The first half hour, basketball. The second half hour, volleyball. So in our next slide, guys, we're going to explore fractions on a number line. Now this one you have an option. This is in our binder on page 161. So it's on page 161 in our binder. Remember, if you work the problems in your binder, in order for your teacher to show your work, you're going to have to take a picture of your work and insert it into the slides. At the beginning of these slides, I showed you where you can insert a picture of your work. So that's where you're going to have to put it in order to get credit. So doing it on page 161, or there's a Jamboard for this. So there's a Jamboard that's also been assigned to you to work on. But this is a picture of what page 161 looks like, and I'll show you the Jamboard for that also. So this is the Jamboard for page 161. It's just showing you a picture of what it looks like on page 161, and you'll be able to put your answer down in here. Says write the fractions represented by the shapes, then type an explanation of how you know. So what does this symbol mean? You put it right here. What fraction should it be? And for the circle, what fraction should that be? By looking at the number line, and you can type your answer in here to for your explanation. And there's some other ones on here. So the other part are for you to draw number lines and partition to help you solve the following problems. So you're just going to represent these fractions. You're going to draw a number line. You're going to represent these fractions on the number line 1/5, 3/5, 4/5, and then you're going to draw a number line showing 12ths. And the third one, you're also drawing number lines and partition to help you solve the following problem. So you're going to draw a number line showing the equivalent fractions to 1/2. Then you're going to prove how to show fifths and tenths on number lines. There's a fourth one. You're still drawing the number lines and partitioning. Now you represent different fractions. They're right here, and then you're going to draw a number line and partition it into equal parts, and you're going to label it. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, and 4 that are on here. And this is the same as page 161. So go ahead and work on these, and we're going to talk about possible answers in just a few minutes. So pause the video, then I want you to work on and complete as many of these as you can. All right, so let's go ahead. You've had an opportunity to work on that Jamboard or on page 161. So let's kind of go over some of these. Now the first one, what fraction is represented by the shapes on the number line? So you look at the first shape right here, and that shape, you'll see that it is represented as 2/6 and also 1/3. So how do I get 2/6 for this one? And for the circle, it's showing 4/6 and 2/3. So 4/6 and 2/3 for that one. All right, so back to the fractions on the number line, and I said that this is this shape is 2/6 and 1/3, and over here is 4/6 and 2/3. So how do we know that? Well, if you look at the actual number line itself, up here, it is partitioned into six equal parts. How do we know that? Well, okay, it starts out with 0. This is 0 here. We'll see that 1 is down here on this end, so that's the ending. And we're going to take a look. You'll see that this is one part. This is the second. This is the first part right here. You don't count the beginning. You don't count where the 0 is, because that's the starting point. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 6 equal parts has been divided into. 6 equal parts has been divided into. Okay. And we'll see. So this first one would actually be, since it's 6 equal parts, this would be considered 1 out of 6. Okay. And the second one would be 2 6. And the third one would be 3 6. And I'm going to put 6 on there. 5 6. And 6 6 is the same as 1 whole. So 6 6 is the same as 1 whole at the end there. So we got this shape is at 2 6, same as 1/3. How do we know? How do we say it's 1/3? Well, because 2 6 and 1/3 are equivalent to each other. 2 6 and 1/3 are equivalent to each other. And you can use the butterfly method to help you to check. So 2 6, 1/3. Remember, you multiply these two. You multiply these two, and if the answer is the same for both, then that means that they're equivalent. 6 times 1 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6. They are equivalent. Okay, and you got 4 6 is equivalent to 2/3. So we could do the same butterfly method, and we would determine that that one's also equivalent. So when we go down below, draw number lines of partition to help you solve the following problems. Represent these fractions on a number line. So you got 1/5, 3/5, and 4/5. So that means that you would have to partition it into 5 equal parts. See, this is not a perfect thing. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal parts I have right here. This would be 1/5 and 3/5. 1, 2, 3/5. So this one right here would be 3/5, and 4/5 would be down here. Okay, so you got 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and 5/5. Okay. So for the second one here, when you draw a number line showing 12, that means you would have 12 equal parts, not 5 like I have here, but you would have 12. All right. So draw a number line showing equivalent fractions to 1/2. So there's some options you could have drawn as 2/4, 3 6, 4/8, 5/10, and you can keep going. So those are all equivalent fractions to 1/2. Prove how to show fifths and tenths on number lines. 1/5 and 2/10 are equivalent to each other. So if you did the butterfly method on that, you would see that both would equal 10. 5 times the 2 and 1 times the 10. Represent these fractions on the number line. 3/4, 6/8, 8/8. So remember, 3/4 and 6/8 are equivalent to each other. So they would be they could be on the same place on the number line. 8/8 is the same as 1 whole, so that would be the entire number line. Okay. Okay, so on our next slide here, we're going to be creating a class number line, and we're going to do this on the Jamboard. So what we're going to do is, and I'll show you exactly which Jamboard we're going to be using in a second. This is going to be a shared class Jamboard, so we're all going to be using the same Jamboard. You would choose a fraction and write it and your name on a sticky note on the Jamboard. So your job is going to be to place a sticky note that you wrote your name on and a fraction. Place it on the number line in the correct place. Okay. Some of the questions that we're going to be thinking about as we do this are, how do we know where you should place your sticky note on the number line? Is it possible for two different fractions to be at the same place on the number line? Why or why not? And also, how do you know if your fraction is closer to 0, 1/2, or 1? So this is our number. This is the Jamboard that we're going to be using. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a sticky note, and you're going to go over here to sticky notes, and you can pick your color, and then you're going to type in your name, and also you're going to pick one of these fractions. So type in your name, choose one of these fractions like I did here. So this is an example. I put my name on there, and also I chose the 2/4 fraction. So now my job is going to be to drag it to wherever I think it should be on the number line. So I know that 2/4 is it's equivalent to 1/2. So I know that 2/4 is equivalent to 1/2. So that should be right around in the middle, right around in the middle section. Okay. So now I could, if I partition this into 4 equal parts, it would still be halfway. All right. So your job is to pick another one of these right here and just kind of put it where you think it could be on our number line. And you do this one on the pick one on this particular slide, and I want you to go down to the second one, pick a different fraction, put it wherever you think it should be. And on the third one, you're going to choose a totally different fraction. Remember, put your name on the sticky note, and you can put it wherever. And we're doing that for another time, okay? And once again, so you're going to choose one of these on each Jamboard slide, but you're going to choose a different one each time. Put it on the number line to get an idea of where you think it should be. Okay, so you've had a chance to go through all of them, and I'm going to kind of give you an idea of where generally these should be close to. So you see where I put my name and I chose 2/4, and that should be right in the middle. 3/4 is a little bit more than 2/4, so I've got that down closer to the end. And 1/3 and 2/6 are equivalent, so they should be in the same place. So I've got them closer. If I divided this into 3 equal parts, it would be right in here. And 3/8, if I divided this into 8 equal parts, 3/8 would be close to around this area right here. Okay. And so on our next slide, guys, you've got there's an exit ticket here. There's an exit ticket that I have it on a Google form that you're going to be able to click on right here to complete. But also it's the same one that's on page 165. Okay, so you're going to have a choice to complete it on the Google form or on page 165. Now, if you do it in the book in the binder on page 165, remember you're going to have to take a picture of your work and insert it into the slide so that your teacher can see it. Because if you don't do that, you will not get credit for it. The Google form, so if you click on the Google form, and you'll see that there's the exit ticket here. So go in and put your name, your first name and last name, just click beside your teacher's name, and it says to study the number line right here. So you're going to study this number line. What fraction does a circle on the line represent? So there's a circle right there. So what fraction do you think it represents? And what other fraction could it represent? So basically, what is an equivalent fraction to this? And then when you finish, go ahead and submit it. So when you finish, go ahead and submit that. All right, so on our next slide here, guys, this is going to be your independent practice work for today. You're going to work on page 163 in your binder. So page 163 in your math binder, this one is not on a Jamboard. So that means that you're going to work inside of your binder and complete the work there. But when you finish, remember, you're going to have to take a picture of your work. And after you take a picture of your work, you're going to go back up and you're going to have to insert it into one of these slides right here. Whichever one you have available, insert a picture of your work up there. And remember, if you just need a short refresher video or help video, you can click right here and there'll be a little short video that's helping you with number lines. And on our very last slide, a reminder, complete the exit ticket on page 163 and also the independent work. And also you're going to work on Dreambox for 15 minutes.